Julian Hemmings here. So you guys see me do interviews, you see me kind of do a day in life, but I wanted to kind of talk about other parts of the law school application process, especially for someone like me, right, who comes from a different class status than people that would attend law school, and also, of course, racially speaking, only 2% of the law school population or the legal population are African Americans. And some of my thoughts about this process and some moments of just like sheer disgust, right? I've been called within my law school application process, this is even before I've applied to law school, scary. I've been called a scary person. People don't understand, and maybe they do understand, but how detrimental that type of language is to an African American man, a young African American man, that I'm scary to people. And when I ask them, why am I scary to you? It's because I'm sharing my journey. It's because I'm talking about class inequality. I'm talking about racial injustice. One person even said to me, these law schools wouldn't even want to give you power if you spoke like this because they're afraid of the damage you can do. These were not compliments. These were words of warning. I'm talking about this because I want people of color to know that these spaces are very unfriendly to people like us. They're not spaces. They talk really good game about being spaces of social change, of making a difference, of attracting law students who are much more than their numbers. And then look, I haven't applied yet, and maybe that's true, right? But they're not safe spaces. They're not places where we can really talk about a whole host of experiences, navigate injustices, navigate where the law is, kind of critique, think. These are very cruel, cold, racist, classist spaces that I'm noticing are designed to maintain the status quo. That's my conclusion in the state that I'm in. But to be called scary by my peers in my pre-law programs, by my advisors, right? That does something to me. Each time I'm labeled that word. It's disgusting. But I know why they label it, right? Label me as such. Because I'm different. I'm not just black. But I come from the Bronx. And I have an entire class perspective that I'm seeing and talking openly with these law schools about. I think that change is really nice when it's sanitized. Sorry, I have a pet parrot in the back. But change is really beautiful when it's sanitary, right? When there's not real structural change, we just have feel-good moments where we have more people of color in the space. What about the people of color don't have a class perspective? I went to Morehouse College and HBCU. I spoke to one African American who is within the legal profession now. I said, hey, I went to Morehouse. He said, do HBCUs even matter? This isn't the 60s anymore. Come to find out, he comes from an upper middle class family, highly privileged person. Can afford the ability to be moderate. Another person tells me, you got to think about being more silent. These spaces are not built for people like us. Let's be more silent. Maybe because you're scaring people because you're so confident in yourself. Black people are saying this. I asked one law school about race. Law school was University of Virginia. They brought a black law student to talk to us. And guess what the black law student said? I mean, I'm probably not going to make a bunch of friends talking like this, but I'm being honest. I don't want to lie. I don't want to be a part of the process that's lying about what's happening here. They tell me, before I answer the question about racism on the campus, let me think about, let me be tactful in what I'm saying. Let me not, and then proceeded to blame people of color who were so scared to speak out for their own injustices. These are the spaces that we're entering. So when people ask me, you know, the LSAT I thought was the hardest part of the journey, it isn't. I think the hardest part of this journey is going to be existing in these like super toxic spaces. It feels like these spaces aren't built for us, man. And I know they weren't, but they're hostile spaces. Even when the person is a person of color, they've existed within this system, the systematic framework. So when you're talking to them, you're trying to get some kind of reach to them, like, hey, we're in this together. Even if a person comes from the same class perspective, they're within the system. It's not the same. So I guess this serves as a word of warning to people who are attending law school. You know, remember that these aren't safe spaces, and if you're coming with a social justice mindset to want to make a difference, of course, you know, you go get money, I get it, right? But if you want to make a difference in this space, don't stay silent. Don't listen to them. Let's keep on going and making a difference. Because although we might be bullied and all that, maybe our children can have a better future. Because we came to the law and using the law school's resources to the betterment of humanity. For the betterment of humanity. Certain behaviors that I've had, like saying, "Hey, everybody, do you also want to speak?" Because we don't want to, you know, we want to get more voices in here. We're seen as aggressive to people, because it was because I believe it's because I'm black. Like that's what happened. When I talk about race to these law schools, some of them shirk and they talk about affinity groups. We have the Black Law School Association. That should be helpful. That's enough. Instead of really touching on the deep-rooted issues of racism within law school. How do we talk about this? How do we talk about how the LSAT has become a factor that has really taken black people outside of the conversations for a lot of law schools that could have given them really great, you know, starting points within the law. Maybe expanding opportunities to more people. The LSAT is not the only predictor of student success. Yet we still hold these things true. I mean, guys, I can't help but to feel annoyed by this process. It's filled with hypocrisy. I mean, like, it's gross. You have kids that want to be lawyers, that want to make a difference, that see what's going on in the system and want to change it. What a great American value to want to form a more perfect union. What a great American value that our legal system purports that it respects and that it believes in. But it does nothing to actually create systemic change. So it's all talk. It's frustrating. And we have people who are coming in with that kind of heart to want to make a difference. They call us scary. Even people of color call us scary because we're scaring the white folks away. And if we're not scaring just the white folks away, If we're poor people, we're talking about class in the classroom, we're scaring the rich people away. But I thought the law was about justice. It's not just a call against races. It's not just a call against classes. It's a call for justice. To create a society that encourages a meritocracy, that believes in the value of each human being, that believes in the individual, that supports that. That's what I'm talking about. But we can't have a conversation about potential and success within a nation that has historically enslaved people and have never met good on that apology, that have never made peace with the future generations of those they've enslaved, has never made peace with the vast wealth disparities within the country. We can't talk about merit in that sense at this moment. We gotta talk about justice and what does that look like. That's the conversation that we need to have. But we're not having it. We're calling people like me that want to have the conversation scary. It's nuts, man. It's not right. I thought we were better than this. But a part of me wonders, maybe I'm being too optimistic. But I'll keep believing something different. But I want to give you guys an honest perspective on the process. You guys like my video, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I respect whichever decision you have. Thank you.